If you have Neptune in the 10th, 11th, or 12th house, this one's for you. And this is important, you guys, because Neptune is going to go either one way or the other. On the one hand, Neptune can be unconditional love and fantasy, and anything is possible. Neptune transcends the ordinary and blurs boundaries. Or on the other hand, it can look like an identity crisis and delusion and confusion, self-abandonment, and escapism. Neptune actually takes us back to that experience in childhood where we tend to be pretty idealistic. We have a hard time connecting to anger or disappointment at others, especially like our parents. So we will willingly self-abandon in order to maintain this ideal perspective. So now it's up to you to be the one that protects that Neptune, that provides discernment and structure. Or if you want to let it wander and get lost and do its own thing and hope for the best, don't recommend that with Neptune, but I'll let you decide. So let's jump into Neptune in the 10th house. The 10th house is the legacy. It's the adult self we're growing into. Yes, it can be career, but it's also so much more than that. I'm wondering if you feel a sense of fogginess around who you want to be, what you want to be. I wonder if it felt like there was a lot of external pressure on you growing up, or maybe your family, friends, community had specific expectations. Imposter syndrome comes up big time here, especially because the 10th house usually speaks to authority on some level, us coming into our own authority. And obviously Neptune isn't necessarily known for its authority. But Neptune is in that reactive, unprotected state. It waits for the environment around it to tell it what it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to respond. You might be really sensitive to how others perceive you, which could push you into not maintaining or setting boundaries at work, because Neptune is going to absorb and respond to whatever's going on around it, and it really wants to please. This also opens you up for potential projection. Neptune creates just enough haze around our solid identity to where people can kind of see what they need to see within us, which can work well, again, when it's protected. But otherwise, that's where we get really sensitive and susceptible to criticism and external opinions. I wonder if you're in this pattern where you're kind of constantly seeking that external validation. Perhaps even this started in childhood with a parental figure. But again, it means that you're constantly shape-shifting and adjusting and compromising your own boundaries in order to perform. When we start working with Neptune and protecting it, Neptune can attract whatever is meant for us. I'm telling you, Neptune is a big planet to look at if you're into like law of attraction, manifestation. Check in with yourself and make sure that whatever you're doing, whoever you're being, is aligned with who you are authentically. Figure out what you will and will not tolerate, whether it's in the workplace, in career, in terms of how much time and energy you dedicate to work. Create the structure and discipline to be able to support whatever that idealistic vision Neptune represents for you. Neptune speaks to belonging. It is community. It is the groups and organizations that we're a part of. It's the causes that we believe in. So I'm wondering how the theme of belonging has shown up for you. Does it feel like you struggle to belong? Do you feel like you start to disappear in the context of belonging? Maybe you were born into a larger family and you kind of felt like, I'm here, I'm happy to be a part of things, but I also don't know how much room there is for my definitive sense of personality to be seen, so I'm just happy to be here. I wonder if you can fit in anywhere with anyone. I mean, truly, that chameleon quality is so strong here, but then the thought of like having all of your friends come together for your birthday dinner is terrifying, because you're like, oh my God, how is this person going to talk to this person? I know that you have an incredible amount of empathy and a deep care for the world at large or society, but I want to make sure you can engage with those themes without compromising what you need, making yourself small. I also wonder if there's something really unique about the types of people you end up being friends with. I don't know. I think sometimes Neptune can be a little bit idealistic. You'll find someone with Neptune in the 11th house surrounded by, a bunch of like the troublemakers, and you're like, what are you doing here? I also wonder what it's like for you when people, places, or things don't live up to your expectations. Like when you've been disappointed or if you've ever experienced betrayal. How does that land for you? I think the notion of belonging and the notion of feeling like you have your place in the world and you know how to contribute is so important to you, but it might sometimes be hard for you to actualize that or feel like you have a good sense of it tangibly. Overall, I'm going to say this is a pretty positive placement, definitely can be, especially when you know your worth, you know who you are. Just prioritize staying in touch with yourself. Neptune in the 12th house. This is actually where Neptune is at home. 12th house represents everything subliminal, everything subconscious, behind the scenes. It is the collective unconscious. So you might have a pretty profound and astute sense of intuition. You might walk into a room and immediately absorb and pick up on the dynamics and the energy going on around you. And I'm wondering if that pattern started when you were a kid. You might have been absorbing other people's pain pain without even realizing it. You might also be somebody that's been a bit hypervigilant from the start and perhaps even a bit highly sensitive. If that's the case and we don't have healthy boundaries to protect ourselves, escapism is going to come up simply as a means of survival. Neptune in the 12th is the part of you that wants to transcend, that wants to experience something greater than normal everyday reality seems to be able to offer. And since the 12th house also deals with a lot of themes around empathy and compassion, I'm wondering if you're the type of person that will pour and pour and pour out of yourself without even realizing that's what you're doing. I also wonder what it's like for you to try to validate your intuition. Both Neptune and the 12th house are associated with a pretty profound intuition, but both of these placements are usually the first ones to gaslight themselves. Like that 12th house is tapped into such a divine intelligence that feels impossible to validate or explain. And Neptune, of course, is already prone to self-doubt on some level. You might be far more intuitive than you're letting yourself take credit for. What's going on with dreams for you? Or even different like psychic abilities. Like there's something extra special about the way your mind, brain, soul work. And that can be really overwhelming. That can be kind of exhausting, especially if we're moving through the world and we continue to feel like people don't understand us, or there's something about us that's different or something about us that's wrong. So we start to self-abandon. We start to get attached to our own experience of suffering and being misunderstood. And then again, that escapism and avoidance might come up. Neptune in the 12th house is demanding that you build a spiritual practice that allows you to periodically touch your feet on the ground, remind yourself of where you are. There is like this infinite open channel, creativity, a profound spirituality, and a healing quality. But it's really hard to access those if you don't know how to protect yourself. How do you walk into a room and not immediately become that room or take on all of the energy going on around you? How do you validate that you're allowed to feel pleasure and joy even when there's suffering going on? Protect this one because it's a gift. I'm running out of time, so I got to wrap this one up for now, but I love you all and stay tuned for the next series.